Hello everybody and welcome to my first Hebrew lesson. In this lesson I will be talking about different topics involving the Hebrew alphabet. The main topics will be the Hebrew alphabet, the letters, ending letters and geshim, two types of diacritics, the niqqud and the geresh, Hebrew spelling, ktiv maleh, ktiv chaser and ktiv menukal. The Hebrew alphabet derives from the Aramaic alphabet as opposed to most of the Western world's languages which use a Latin alphabet. The Hebrew alphabet is called the Aleph-Bet. The Hebrew alphabet is also used in the Yiddish, Ladino and the Judeo-Arabic languages. The Hebrew alphabet is composed of 22 consonants, 5 of which appear at a different form when used at the end of a word. It's important to note that Hebrew is read right to left and not left to right. Aleph, Aleph, Aleph. Bet, Bet, Bet. Gimel, Gimel, Gimel. Daled, Daled, Daled. Hey, Hey, Hey. Vav, Vav, Vav. Zain, Zain, Zain. Chet, Chet, Chet. The best way for me to try and help you understand how to pronounce this letter is try thinking of the famous music conductor Johann Sebastian Bach. Tet, Tet, Tet. Yud, Yud, Yud. Kaf, Kaf, Kaf. Lamed, Lamed, Lamed. Mem, Mem, Mem. Nun, Nun, Nun. Samech, Samech, Samech. Ein, Ein, Ein. Pey, Pey, Pey. Tzadik, Tzadik, Tzadik. Kuf, Kuf, Kuf. Reish, Reish, Reish. Shin, Shin, Shin. Taf, Taf, Taf. Now I will show you the 5 special forms of the letters we mentioned earlier, which are the letters Kaf, Mem, Nun, Pey, and Tzadik. When Kaf is at the end of a word, it looks like so, and is called the Kaf Sofit. When Mem is at the end of a word, it looks like so, and is called the Mem Sofit. When Nun is at the end of a word, it looks like so, and is called the Nun Sofit. When Pey is at the end of a word, it looks like so, and is called the Pey Sofit. When Tzadik is at the end of a word, it looks like so, and is called the Tzadik Sofit. For example, let's use the word went, or in Hebrew, halach. As you can see, the letter Kaf is present at the end of the word and is in its ending form. And complete, the Hebrew alphabet looks like this. There is one type of niqqud which I'd like to address slightly, since it affects certain letters' pronunciation to a great extent. That type of niqqud is called the gesh. The dagesh looks like a dot in the middle of the letter. For example, bet. The main letters the dagesh affects are bet, kaf, and pey. The letter shin is also affected by a similar niqqud mark which is simply called the right or left dot. A bet with a dagesh sounds like I taught you, bet, and the bet without a dagesh is pronounced with a V sound and is called vet. A kaf with a dagesh sounds like I taught you, kaf, and the kaf without a dagesh is pronounced with a cha sound and is called chaf. A pey with a dagesh sounds like I taught you, pey, and the pey without a dagesh is pronounced with a f sound and is called fey. A shin with the right dot sounds like I taught you, shin, and the shin with the left dot is pronounced with an S sound and is called sin. Another topic I want to cover is what happens to certain letters when a diacritic is present. A diacritic looks like this, and in Hebrew, a diacritic is called a geresh. When a geresh is added to certain letters, it changes the pronunciation of those letters. The main usage of geresh is for slang and loanwords. The most common letters that can have a gerish on them are Gimel, Zayin, Tzadik, and Taf, but the gerish can also be used on the letters Daled, Vav, Chet, Samech, Ayin, and Reish. I will only address how the gerish affects the letters Gimel, Zayin, Tzadik, and Taf, as the other letters are rarely used with a gerish. When a Gimel is added a gerish, its pronunciation is turned from a G sound into a G sound. For example, if you're called George, then in Hebrew your name will be written as such. When a Zayin is added a gerish, it turns from a Z sound into a J sound. For example, if you were to try and write the word genre in Hebrew, it would be written as such. When a Tzadik is added a gerish, its pronunciation is turned from a Ts sound into a Ch sound. For example, if your name is Charlie, then in Hebrew it is written as such. When a Taf is added a gerish, it turns from a T sound into a Th sound. For example, if you're called Seth, then your name in Hebrew is written as such. In Hebrew, we have no real vowel letters. Instead, we use a punctuation system called niqqud that consists of a series of dots and other types of marks below, in, or above the letters to tell how they are pronounced. Here is a complete chart of the Hebrew niqqud. I will not go into detail about the different marks of niqqud, as I feel it will overcomplicate things and it is not what I am trying to get across in this lesson. I might make a future lesson in which I discuss the niqqud system to a greater extent. Let's see niqqud in action. Here is how you properly write the Aleph-Bet Ivri, Hebrew alphabet. A non-punctuated word can have several meanings, for example, pe and po. Both of these words are written with the letters Pey and Hey, but are punctuated differently and thus have different meanings. One meaning here, po, and the other meaning mouth, pe. Another example would be Sam, Shem, and Cham. These three words are written with the same letters, Shin and Mem, but are punctuated differently and thus have different meanings. One meaning Ver, Sham, the other meaning name, Shem, and the third meaning Putz, Sam. In modern Israeli orthography, niqqud is seldom used, except in specialized texts such as dictionaries, poetry, or texts for children or for new immigrants. For purposes of disambiguation, a system of spelling without niqqud, known in Hebrew as ktiv maleh, literally full spelling, has developed. What this basically means is that a system of writing without niqqud was developed, and as a direct cause of that, nowadays niqqud is seldom used. So now you are probably asking yourself, but wait, if it is rarely used, and I just saw in the examples that some words are identical except for the niqqud, how do you tell some words apart? Well, you're right, there is no real way of telling some words apart when there is no niqqud present. But with time and experience in the Hebrew language, you can tell which word is which, mainly through the context of the sentence and through logic. Sometimes, when a reader is likely to make a mistake in reading a word, the use of partial vowelling is recommended, for example, minhal to distinguish from menahel. Now, I will talk about the different ways of Hebrew spelling, starting with ktiv maleh. As we know, the Hebrew alphabet consists of 22 consonants and no actual vowels. Ktiv maleh, on the other hand, does use 4 of the Hebrew letters as weak vowels in order to remove the need for niqqud. The letters that act as weak vowels are Aleph, Hey, Vav, and Yud. Here's an example of how ktiv maleh works. The word kulam, which means everybody, in ktiv maleh will appear as kulam, with the Vav acting as the vowel for the U sound instead of the vowel mark kubutz. Ktiv maleh is considered the easiest, most efficient, and most common way of spelling. Ktiv nuqqud. This system makes use of the niqqud dots in order to show exactly how the words are pronounced. It is rarely used in everyday life. However, it is used whenever someone wants the writing to be clear and unambiguous, such as children books, poetry, language instruction for newcomers, or ambiguous or foreign terms. However, it is very cumbersome and inconvenient in everyday life. Ktiv chaser, on the other hand, does not use the 4 weak vowels, nor does it use niqqud. Ktiv chaser is rarely ever used. Here's a chart comparing the 3 spelling systems. In conclusion, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. I hope you can make good use of it. I know it's a bit complicated and it was very difficult pushing everything into a 10-minute time space, but I think I managed pretty well. Comment, rate, and subscribe for more.